What's up, vetters? Remember this video? All right, vetters, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Y'all, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I really, really need your help. And if you don't remember anything about this video, don't worry, because we're going to go over that. Because you see, Ross Coulthart has made some comments recently about this video.
If I gave you the date, if I gave you the location and the full details, then what would happen? The people who provided me that video might be implicated.
But before we get to those comments, let's get a refresher course on this video in particular. Here's Ross Coulthart to explain.
NewsNation has independently obtained previously unseen video obtained from a secret UAP craft retrieval program. This extraordinary footage clearly shows an egg-shaped object dangling in a sling below the belly of a helicopter.
Let's slow this down to take a closer look. That's an egg-shaped UAP suspended from a 150-foot long line. We're told the craft is about 20 feet long. The egg suspended in a cradle. And look how careful the pilot is as they bring their precious cargo into land. Let's freeze frame here to look at one of the clearest images of a UAP ever taken. This is no blurry light in a distant sky. The source of the footage putting themselves at incredible risk to record this UAP retrieval. Look at how perfectly smooth the craft is. No markings at all, and no visible means of propulsion or way to see inside. Watch how it rolls, almost graceful as it hits the ground, despite being wrapped in the ropes and canvas from the cradle as it's dropped for pickup. The UAP's final destination still unknown.
So the basic gist is that Jake Barber had recovered a egg-shaped craft like this, but this video in particular has nothing to do with Jake Barber. So it's a little confusing, I know. Everyone wondered about this video, right, and what happened with it. Here's Ross Coulthart responding most recently about this video. Then we're going to jump into quite a few things about it.
Ross, can you provide any follow-up on the egg retrieval footage shown during your Jake Barber interview? I responded asking what specifically would you like information on? And he's saying, we know nothing. So all info on date, time, location, circumstances leading to the landing, crash, retrieval carried out by who, details of the egg itself, who took it away, where was it taken, etc.
Okay, think about what you're asking. If I gave you the date, if I gave you the location and the full details, then what would happen? The people who provided me that video might be implicated. So one of the things we have to do as journalists is protect sources. And yes, I'm absolutely convinced that the egg video is authentic, it's genuine, and it's very typical of the kind of objects that Jake Barber has been, on his own admission, involved in retrieving in the location he euphemistically calls the range. I can't tell you any more than that, because one of the obligations we have as journalists is to protect our sources. It took a hell of a lot to get that video. It didn't come from Jake Barber. It came from other sources, and I know it's authentic. And I'm afraid you're just going to have to accept it. What I find is very, very conspicuous is the complete lack of comment from the Defense Department or the intelligence community or the government. They've said nothing. And the reason why is because they know it's genuine, and they also know that we know a great deal about the range, where it is, and who's involved. And what really, I think, frustrates me is Congress could do this. Congress knows all this because they've been told about all of this in secure SCIF hearings by Jake Barber. They've got this information. So why the hell are we how does one say this politely, pussyfooting around by not calling people who should be called, or allowing people who are evading being called to evade being called. We should just subpoena these organisations. And that's why it's a very good development that Anna Paulina Luna, the chairwoman of the Oversight Committee task force that's investigating this issue, she's basically said that they're going to start subpoenaing witnesses, possibly involuntarily, and they've sent out interrogatories, questions. And one of the things they should be asking about is questions about these particular facilities where Jake Barber has given first-hand evidence of his direct knowledge of being involved in retrievals. So I'm sorry, I can't give you dates, I can't give you names, I can't tell you who's involved, because to do so is to compromise sources. I think it's an extraordinary act of courage by Jake Barber to have come out and said what he said and done what he's done. And frankly, the most conspicuous thing that I can see is the failure by Congress to pick up on those allegations and actually do the job. I mean, we've just had this depressing situation this week where we've learned that for the third year running, the UAP disclosure laws are going to be gagged in the Congress. It's not going to happen. We're not going to get new laws that protect whistleblowers coming through in the defence appropriations legislation. And that's a disgrace, because the Republican congressional representatives could have voted for this, and some of them didn't. And they need to be held, their feet need to be held to the fire and asked why. And the reason why is because they're little lickspittle lapdog puppies to the national security state. Who's running America? Congress or the national security state?
So basically we're getting nada, right? No information about this particular video or what's going on. And I get that it reveals sources, but does it? I mean, I don't know all the way. Like, what's the point then of releasing the video? We don't get any information on it. Again, it's just a trust me, bro situation, right? We don't get any context, any information, nothing. We don't know anything. And we're just supposed to believe that that's an alien spaceship being picked up. And again, it has nothing to do with Jake Barber's, right? And they kind of didn't explain that well in their main video. So people were confused for a long time. Ross came out later, actually, after the video came out on News Nation, and spoke about in more detail about where the video came from. Then, you know, this next clip that I'm going to show you is not from the original News Nation piece. This is afterwards.
What's interesting is, for years I've been talking to people who've been telling me that these eggs are one of the more common shapes that you see of these alleged NHI craft. And it's fascinating to finally see one on video, confirmed provenance. I'm aware of where this video has come from. It did not come, by the way, from Mr. Barber. He had absolutely nothing to do with this. It came from other sources who are aware of the recovery operations on the range and who provided with this as direct evidence of the eggs that are and routinely are being procured on the range.
We have a visual! Repeat, we have a visual!
I mean, we basically just have no way to know the provenance of this video and what's in it, right? Because again, we have no context. But I get Ross's point about that he wants to protect sources. No problem. But by doing so, unfortunately, we can't do anything with this video. It's kind of like, yeah, Ross, totally respect you can't reveal your sources, but we have to dismiss the video. We just can't do anything with it. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of just how it goes. We need people to come forward with their name behind it. I mean, and know about, we at least need to know details about it, right? And confirm that. Otherwise, there's just no point to this. What's the point? We're assuming it's alien and we're assuming there's something to this egg-shaped craft, but we have no idea what happened. What if the craft was like, the egg shape was just a top, like, you know, but then it was actually a UFO? Like, we don't know what's going on. That's all I'm saying. We have no information, so we assume it's alien because we're told that. But wait a second, I don't want to be told anything. I want to be shown. So show me why it's alien. Because again, totally going to respect Ross and wanting to keep his sources safe. Totally respect that, 100%. But unfortunately, the video, I personally just dismissed the video then. You know, it's, hey, works both ways, right? You want to protect sources, I got to protect the evidence, right? Essentially, or the lack thereof. So it kind of just how it goes. You know, if that's the road we go down, then that's the road we go down. I don't know. But this video has always interested me, to be honest with you. There's been a lot of other egg-shaped craft stories for sure, and we'll get to those in just a second. I have a couple that you're going to want to hear. But one thing in particular about this video that's always interested me is look at the video when you play it in reverse. To me, it looks like that's how the video goes. I don't know. I'm just saying something not right with this video. And to me, it looks like it's played in reverse, but I could be wrong. Let me know what you think. Now, let's move on to a couple other UFO egg cases, right? Because, I mean, there's some precedent here for egg-shaped craft. I don't know if y'all remember this story, but before Jake Barber actually came out, an Area 51 whistleblower came out, and they covered it in the Daily Mail. It barely got covered. I'm not even sure if I made a video about it. Check this out.
My name is Eric Tabor. I work for I did work for a U.S. aerospace company on different projects. I had a security clearance for the past 13 years. My grandmother was nice enough to let me know that I had a great uncle named Sam Urquhart. He told me that he worked at Area 51 from 1997 until 2014. He said when I first got there in 1997, I had a personal conversation with a senior EG&G engineer whose group was tasked with trying to reverse engineer, figure out an object that was brought there by some CIA people in the 1980s, and it was supposedly found just resting in a remote desert location, fully intact. And the senior EG&G engineer described to my great uncle that it was egg-shaped, about the size of a SUV, smooth and seamless, metallic looking, silverish gray in color, no control surfaces, no flaps, no inlet, no exhaust. It showed up on X-ray as a solid object. They tried to penetrate the hull, try to open it. They couldn't. They said that they were able to take some very small samples of the material. I'm not an expert in chemistry, but I guess the isotope ratio or the mixture of elements, they concluded it was not made on Earth.
I mean, that's such a fascinating story, right? And there's more, right? Remember Socorro, Lonnie Zamora? That was an egg-shaped craft.
It happened in Socorro, New Mexico, here just outside of this quiet desert town. A state highway patrol officer, Lonnie Zamora, was on duty, as he had been for the past several years. A black Chevrolet was observed, speeding by the courthouse. Zamora put his highway patrol car into pursuit. Lonnie chased the car north on US 85. As he passed this hilly area, Zamora heard a roar and something caught his attention.
And I could see a white looking object in the distance.
Zamora called in. He sounded very excited. He said he watched an object lift up slowly and disappeared into the sky very fast. I went down to where the object had been, and I noticed the brush was burning in several places. The object had left 4 perpendicular impressions on the ground. I knew Lonnie had seen something. The proof was right there.
All right, betters. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
Hello, Vetted. My name is Mario, and I just wanted to share an experience that I had in 1983. Basically, a plasma-type ball thing, orb thing, came way out from the sky and followed me home from school. And the odd thing about it is that I had this overwhelming sense that I was being watched, which caused me to look up in the sky. And when I first noticed it, it was like a small dot, like a star. But it came all the way down to ground level, and I started running from the thing because I was terrified. And as soon as I noticed it make these 90-degree turns in the same turns that I was making, that's when I knew this thing definitely had intelligence and it was definitely following me. And the extraordinary thing about my experience is how close I got to it. I got within arm's length of this thing, trying to figure out what the heck it was because I couldn't correlate it to anything. My idea of a UFO at the time would have been like a flying disc or something like that. At any rate, I'm leaving a lot of details out, but I went over this with a guy from MUFON who was very enlightening about it, and I would love to share the whole story with you if you want. I'm not a nut job, that's for sure. I live in Los Angeles. My name is Mario. Thanks a lot. Bye.